talking about?
90% of the population in Tall Oaks has been infected with the virus.
So that takes care of the 3 primary scenarios that you'll be playing in the game. Capcom was also good to note that you will be able to play any one of those campaigns in any order you wish. So if you want to start with Jake first, or Leon, or Chris, it's all up to you. And then you've got the monsters, who definitely comprise the heart and soul of the Resident Evil series. Good news, zombies are definitely back. And not just the Las Plagas or Magini or any of the crazy insectoid infested humans with like crazy alien heads popping out of their bodies. Now we've got the real, shambling, slow-moving zombies that we've seen in past games. And what's cool is that they're not just these same zombies either. You've got some zombies that are able to dash, dodge, and even hurtle over objects. So they're much more formidable targets to face, especially when they start crowding around you in crowded parking lots and stuff like that. What's cool is that some of these zombies may even be holding on to things that they had while they were still alive, whether they were fighting other zombies or maybe just living day to day with like holding a cane or an umbrella or something. If you get close enough to these zombies, you may even pull off a contextual kill. So if they're holding a crowbar, you might see Leon yank it from them and just like stick it into his head. Pretty cool stuff. And then we have the Javo, which I predict will be kind of the replacement for Las Plagas and the Magini. The Javo are these crazy bug-eyed monsters which you've seen in the debut trailer. And according to Kobayashi, these guys are scary for any number of reasons. Not only are they smart enough to be able to use a wide array of weaponry, they're also capable of regenerating really fast. So what this means is if you shoot them at certain body parts, those parts will actually grow back very rapidly into a crazy new mutated form. So depending if you shoot off their arms or their legs or maybe even their heads, they may even turn into something completely different than what you've experienced before. So in Kobayashi's eyes, the Javo are a versatile enemy that will always be different depending on how you approach and attack them each time. Definitely scary stuff.
I'm right there with you, Captain, but your personal vendetta isn't gonna get us anywhere.
And the final zombie that they showed off at the event was the Chrysalid. Apparently, if you are a human and you get infected by the C virus, there's a chance that you might turn into these crazy looking pod creatures, which they show off very briefly in the latest trailer we put up. And according to Kobayashi, it's anyone's guess as to what exactly will pop out of those pods. So there's another kind of surprise to look out for in future videos we put up.
Is this what you wanted to show me?
And of course, they touched upon the issue of controls. Now, they're very cognizant of the issues of Resident Evil 5, how it was very similar to 4, still had a bit of those archaic mechanics in there, like not being able to move and shoot. Luckily, they've taken what they've learned from the past 2 games and come up with this new control scheme that really seems modernized to what everyone else would expect from a third-person shooter out there. And it's actually cool because the guy that's actually handling the design of the controls is a huge Western shooter fan. You'll definitely see a lot of those influences trickle down to Resident Evil 6's unique control scheme, as well as it establishing a few new tricks of its own. So first things first, they did in fact confirm that running and shooting was in the game. Of course, if you're used to that traditional stop and pop style of gameplay, you're more than welcome to do that. But for people who are looking for that added versatility, they're also more than welcome to run and gun as they wish.
It's regenerating.
So one of the new mechanics that they showed off in the trailers was also the ability to basically go into this crazy backwards prone position where you would dive on your back and shoot in that kind of grounded position. Not only does it look cool, but it definitely serves a function in the game. Whenever you're in that position, zombies will have a harder time hitting you. If you're lying on your back and shooting at things, you definitely open yourself up to unique attacks. Some zombies might be able to jump on you and take a bite. You never know what's going to happen, so it's definitely a calculated risk-reward system that they're trying to implement here. When you're in that particular position, you'll be able to roll, inch around a little bit, and do a number of things that basically allow you to maneuver around the battlefield in certain ways. And they even alluded to how it might play into a boss fight. For instance, if there's some kind of crazy monster running at you and it takes a jumping attack, you might be expected to get on your back and shoot the belly in a very kind of timed procedure. So then the question remains, is Resident Evil 6 scary? Judging from what we've seen in Leon's particular campaign, I'd say that yeah, it's definitely taking a step towards that direction once again. Unfortunately, we did not get to see how Chris and Jake's particular campaigns went, but judging from the trailers, I'd say that what Chris and Jake are set to deliver are more or less along the lines of what you'd expect from Resident Evil 5. Those high impact, big budget Hollywood thrills. It's interesting to see Resident Evil take that direction again with Leon's particular campaign, and I hope that it extends more into the overarching game, not just with his particular story, but when all the other campaigns eventually intertwine into this single confrontation in China. So one thing that did turn me off a tiny bit when watching Leon's demo was that there was a constant waypoint always in the distance. And sure, that's helpful, but I think when you're trying to immerse yourself in the moment, it's good not to be constantly reminded that you're playing a game. And it wasn't very subtle either. It was a constant 30 meters from this next objective. Please run this direction. So it definitely took me out a little bit, but it's something that I brought up to the developers, and hopefully it'll change it. So if they do, you can thank me for that.
I did this.
Overall, I'd say that I'm very optimistic for Resident Evil 6. Even at this stage in development, it looks like a tremendously good game. The footage in the trailer actually looks very close to actual gameplay. If there's one thing I'll say, it's that they're being a little too ambitious. Not only are they bringing the game out a full month ahead of schedule, but they're also definitely trying to satisfy a lot of different people with what they're doing with the campaigns. So hopefully it'll all come together in a more cohesive vision that speaks more closely to the real soul of the franchise. But for now, I'd say that Resident Evil 6 is definitely shaping up to be a very promising game, and I can't wait to see more in the future. If you'd like to learn more about Resident Evil 6, I wrote a pretty comprehensive breakdown of the demo that I saw at Captivate, and you can check that out at Side Mission right now.
The world needs you!
No, not me. Just my blood.